We welcome as a Muslim community, DA, in the Krasner. He has been elected a year ago in the city of Philadelphia, and we are very much happy to see him. A couple of months ago, we had the inauguration, and our mayor and our council were there at that time. We were unable to contact him at that time. I'm very happy that with his own desire he wanted to come and share some thoughts with us. He was born in Missouri, then he migrated with his family to Philadelphia. He had been a practicing lawyer since 1980. Now he is the top prosecutor in the city of Philadelphia. So we welcome him. He will address what we want to attend to 15 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for allowing me to be here. I would have liked to attend the opening ceremony for this truly beautiful mosque, but I was actually out of town at the time. And someone who's been very, very important in our new administration at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office did attend. That is Movita Johnson-Harrell, who's seated in the back of the room. Movita is the new chief of our victim and witness services, and she is also the first hijabi supervisor in a law enforcement setting in Philadelphia, and she's doing a wonderful job. So thank you again for allowing me to be here in this beautiful mosque on this holy day for all of you. I appreciate greatly the respect that you showed to us in asking us to be here for the opening, and also the respect that you showed to us in allowing us to come to address you today. And I want you to know that respect is returned to you. So we have been in office now for 1 year, and this is a district attorney's office whose primary job it is to try to do justice by everyone in criminal matters. We have taken a very different approach than many other district attorney's offices, and it's being watched both in Philadelphia and also around the country, because there are other district attorneys around the country who are going in the same direction. I would just like to take a couple minutes to tell you some of the things we have been doing and explain to you our philosophy behind that. One of the most important things that we've done this year is we have succeeded in reducing the number of people in county jail from 6,500 a year ago to about 4,700 today. That is the lowest level of people being in jail in almost 25 years in Philadelphia. A few years ago, they were 10,000. We are now below half of that. Yes, there are people who need to be in jail. Yes, there are people who present a threat to society. We believe that, but we also believe that it has been far too many people for far too long. We also believe that people who are put in jail have been there many times simply because they were too poor to pay bail, not because they had committed a serious offense or a violent offense, but because they were too poor. And we also believe that the system, unfortunately, has discriminated. It has discriminated against people because of their color. It has discriminated against them because of their poverty. It has discriminated against them in many situations because of their religion, or because they are immigrants, or for some other reason that has nothing to do with justice. So we have succeeded in a very significant reduction in the county jail population. And while we were doing it, people kept saying, but you're going to have a crime wave. All of those terrible people are going to go out and they're going to do terrible things. Well, this is the truth. Violent crime is down. I repeat, down 6% last year. At the same time that these people were released, violent crime went down. And that includes homicides, which are up a little, and that includes shootings, which are up a little. Violent crime overall is down. Crime overall has not increased at all. That freedom has not cost us our safety. Yes, we have challenges, serious challenges around gun violence in particular, serious challenges around opioid addiction in particular. But that freedom has not cost us our safety. What else have we done? Well, for over 10 years, there has been a contract between the city of Philadelphia and ICE. And that contract has committed the city to give information to ICE when there is an arrest that made it easier and quicker for ICE to begin deportation proceedings. We broke that contract, and the way we broke it is that I voted against it, and the mayor voted against it, and only 2 out of 3 votes were needed to break that contract. Yes, ICE can go ahead and it can try to deport people, and as you know, it has been trying to deport people in record numbers because we are in, frankly, ominous times when we have a leader in the United States who is willing to do things like try to deport millions and shut down the government for longer than any president in history so that he can build a wall that 70% of this country does not want to be built, right? We made a decision in the DA's office, and so did the mayor, that we were not going to help, that we were not going to make it easier, that we were not going to be part of this. And I am proud to say that we were successful in ending that contract. We have also worked to try to increase the diversity of the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. This is an office where when I came in, only 20% of our attorneys were people of color. And so we have gone all over the country to 25 different law schools, 20 of the best law schools in the United States, and also 5 of the historically black university law schools in the United States, looking for talent of every type. We're looking for geographical diversity, religious diversity, racial diversity, language diversity, intellectual diversity, life experience diversity, economic diversity. We're looking for every type of diversity there is, because all of that wisdom and all of that difference, when you get it together, is much more powerful than having 100 people who all look and come from exactly the same place. So we have done that. It took months to do, and we are extremely proud of what we expect our improvement to be in diversity when those young lawyers come and join us in September. We are doing everything we can to try to be fair on an individual basis. We do not believe that there's a double standard for police on the one side and everybody else on the other. We do not believe there is a double standard for wealthy people on the one side and everybody else on the other. We do not believe there's a double standard for famous people on the one side and the rest of us on the other. We believe that we should do things in an even-handed way. And that brings me to the last few things I'd like to say, which I think are what our philosophy really is. Our philosophy really is, in the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, that justice is not a math problem. That mandatory sentences are stereotypes. To say that every single person who is caught possessing a gun is the same and should get the same sentence is a stereotype. To say that everyone who is convicted of a particular crime is the same and must have the same guidelines for their sentence, that is a stereotype. And stereotypes are for lazy people, and they are a form of discrimination. What has to be done, even though we have 40,000 cases a year, is we have to look very deeply into the case itself. We have to see whether there is the possibility of innocence or not. We have to understand the suffering by a victim, if there is suffering by a victim. We need to also look carefully at the defendant and everything that defendant has done in his or her life and everything that defendant has suffered. We need to look at 100 things in each file, and we need to treat all the people just as well. Everyone should be treated just as well. And that is not a math problem. That is the challenge of individual justice, of trying to look at every case that closely, working that hard, and being that careful so that we do not apply double standards or favor any group over any other. And what we believe we are seeing when we do that is we believe we are seeing two things. Accountability, yes, but also restoration. When you understand why a defendant did a thing, sometimes there is the possibility for completely changing that person's life trajectory. I'll give you one short story, then I'll quit. I promise I'll quit. So I was walking through the Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia some years ago. A big man wearing a Philadelphia Gas Works jacket came up to me. At that time, I was a criminal defense attorney. I had not become a prosecutor. And he said, "You remember me?" When you have been a criminal defense attorney, those are not the words you want to hear. He said, "You remember me?" And I said, "Well, sir, to be honest, I don't remember you." And he explained to me that I had represented him, excuse me, when I was a young public defender. So I had been practicing law about 15 years, but when I was a young public defender, I had only been practicing 2 or 3. And I was in juvenile court at that time. And he reminded me that 15 years earlier, he was a young drug dealer. He had no prior criminal record, but in the space of 1 month, he got arrested 4 times for going to the corner and selling drugs on the corner. He never had a gun, he never hurt anyone, but 4 times in a row he did this. I said to him, I said to him way back when I was a public defender, I said, "You are a terrible drug dealer. Every single time you go to the corner, you get arrested. You really need a different line of work. This is not gonna do it for you. So tell me, young man," he's only about 16, "what do you want out of life?" And at that time, he said to me basically the kind of things we all want, that he wanted to be able to be financially independent, that he would like to own a home, that he would like to have a family. That's really all he wanted. So I said to him, "Look, then you are going about this the wrong way. If what you want is that, and you don't want to hurt people, you're a terrible drug dealer. We got to figure something else out." And so we did. In juvenile court, he got certain kinds of treatment. We took care of his cases, and he got a second chance. And that's why 15 years later, when I saw him, he came up to me and he said, "Look at me. I've been an employee of the Philadelphia Gas Works now for almost 15 years. I have 5 children. My wife and I live with those children in our home, which we bought." That is possible. It's not only possible, it happens all the time. We just don't hear about it. We hear the bad stories. We don't hear the good stories. And that young man was blessed with the fact that his mistakes occurred when he was a juvenile, at a time when even now society is willing to forgive and allow you another chapter. If he had done the same thing when he was 18, those convictions would have been permanent on his record. He never would have had that job. He never would have been a provider in that family. He may never have been a homeowner. He would have been in a different place. And what we need to do in our quest for individual justice is we need to find those people, and there are many of them, who can be turned around, who can become a part of our community, support us and help us. And we need to make sure that is what happens by looking closely at each case. I want to thank you very much for your patience. It has been considerable patience as I talked on and on. But it really has been an honor to be here, and I look forward to another opportunity to either appear before you, or appear before other members of your faith, or appear in houses of worship of other faiths during this coming year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and we are very happy that he came, and we enjoyed whatever he has mentioned to us. The ICE issue is talking, yes, that's concerning all people coming from the other countries. I'm very thankful to Mayor and him, because that was a burning issue going on for a long time. Thank you very much, and hopefully you will see him again. And we're going to